Assalamu alaikum and very good late afternoon. Everyone, those of you who have joined us today on NTV Europe, thank you so very much. We are doing our regular program, Everyday Corona Updates, and today we have a very special guest. He is Bara Commander for Metropolitan Police for Tower Hamlets and Hackney. I have Mr. Marcus Barnett. Marcus, thank you so very much for joining us today via video call to discuss what police has been doing to ensure the government lockdown and other strategy. I know it has been a very difficult time for everyone, not just in London or in Tower Hamlets and Hackney, all across UK. However, police force, you and your colleague, you are doing an excellent work. So on behalf of NTV, on behalf of British Bangladeshi community, on behalf of all Londoners, on behalf of everyone, I want to congratulate you, and we want to let you know that our best wishes are always with you and with your colleagues. So Marcus, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be on the program with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcus. So if I ask you that, considering the difficult time that we are having, not just in London, all across the world, what police force in UK, particularly in Tower Hamlets and Hackney, what you and your colleagues are doing to ensure government lockdown and social distancing terms and conditions are followed appropriately by people?
Well, as thank you again for having me on the show. Yes, it has been a very challenging time for the Metropolitan Police Service and my officers at Hackney and Tower Hamlets. But, you know, this has been a real team effort across all of the communities. And my staff and me particularly, I've been working very closely with our local authority partners and all of the community to really get a grip on the coronavirus pandemic and the issues that we can see playing out so tragically across the media every day. And particularly, I think, the success so far in where we have seen really, you know, by and large, fantastic levels of compliance across Hackney and Tower Hamlets has been one through my officers and their approach. You know, we're very proud of the tradition of British policing, and it's by consent. You know, we work for the public, we are the public, and we work very much by getting alongside people. And particularly around coronavirus, we have been very forward-looking around the way that we engage with the public, and we explain to them and we encourage people to maintain social distancing as per the restrictions that have been very clearly set out by the government and Public Health England. And that's what we do. You know, we attend where we know that there are social distancing concerns, be it at a supermarket or an open public space, and people gathering in large numbers. And we very much work on the basis of the engagement, the explaining and encouraging people to stay at home and to protect lives and to save the NHS from, you know, a real kind of stretch and strain. And so that's been the you know, the real basis of what we've been talking about and doing. Yes, of course, we do look at enforcement, but we've said, and the Commissioner has said very clearly all across London, enforcement around legislation to do with coronavirus is an absolute last resort. You know, so we're very proud of what my officers and we've been doing. I think we've been, taking a fantastically professional and very moderate approach. But I want to say thank you very much to all of the community, particularly in Tower Hamlets, the Bengali community. I know the mosques shut very early, with great levels of compliance, and we're really grateful for your support, and that needs to continue.
Right, thank you very much, Marcus. Marcus, a follow-up question: how the normal functioning of the police force is affected by this additional responsibility? How that is affected?
Well, you're right. It is an additional responsibility that we all have, as I said, and yes, it has been a very busy time for the police. But what I want to do to reassure you is we have been maintaining policing as everybody would know and expect. And so all of my officers, and this goes for all across London, you know, the Metropolitan Police Service is a fantastic organisation that digs deep when it has to, and I think the response has been incredible. And we have been maintaining across every aspect of policing a very high level of service. So be it from 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, response policing, answering 999 calls for emergencies, to my officers being very proactive, going after people in the community that seek to do harm, violence, drugs, guns, to investigations, to officers working across all of the neighbourhood, the local ward areas. We have been maintaining, as I would describe it, a level of business as usual service. And that has come as a strain, of course it has, for our officers, but they're very committed. And so I do want to send a reassurance message to everybody that's listening and watching today that the Metropolitan Police Service are still there. We are providing a fantastic level of service, and that will continue.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much. We know that police force is one of the frontline force to tackle this crisis, along with NHS staffs. And, we've been very grateful to NHS staffs for the excellent work they are doing. Recently, we have seen that they have raised a concern about the PPE, personal protective equipment.
Yeah.
You and your colleague, do you have enough protective kits in your hand so that you are not affected by this virus?
So again, the Metropolitan Police Service, we have been working very hard in purchasing enough protection equipment for all of our staff. My officers, we have protection equipment, and we're very clear about the need and the use. Obviously, we very much stick to public health guidance about maintaining your 2-meter distance and washing your hands for 20 seconds, and that still continues. But we do have for all of our staff when it's needed. So if you think that you are in a situation where there may be somebody with coronavirus or there are symptoms, to wear a mask, to wear goggles if necessary, barrier clothing and gloves. We provide hand sanitizers so officers can obviously wash their hands and keep them as clean as possible. And we are very, very clear on the advice that we give in line with public health. But I think that, the message really, again, is policing can be quite unpredictable. It's not always absolutely possible to wear public protection equipment, personal protection equipment, in a given scenario, because you don't know how it's going to, unfold. And so my officers, they understand that there are risks in what we do, because that is policing. But I think the overall message really is, yes, we've got protective equipment. We've been at pains to make sure we've got sufficient supplies for all of our staff, and that will be at the forefront of our mind for as long as we are dealing with coronavirus.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much. Marcus, recently we have seen that there has been a rise of domestic violence because of this ongoing situation. May I know what you, as a barrack commander for Tower Hamlets and Hackney, what you doing for this particular area to address this concern?
Well, it is domestic abuse is a concern always, be it within a coronavirus context or otherwise. It's something that we are absolutely committed to tackling head on in the Metropolitan Police. And we've been very clear about that, a zero tolerance approach to domestic abuse, and anybody that is suffering abuse. We say to them, and I say to you now, if you're watching and you are suffering abuse, that we are here for you, the police are here for you, and you call 999, you call a friend to get help, and we will come to help you. We are absolutely committed to that. And I think, we haven't necessarily seen since the time of coronavirus, and increases you're suggesting in domestic abuse in terms of reporting, but we know that there probably is an underreporting of domestic abuse. So again, I would reinforce the message of, please, if you are suffering, be it physical, be it emotional abuse, financial abuse, whatever it may be in the domestic setting, please come to us. You can call. We've got a number, domestic violence helpline number of 0808 2000 247. But we are working very closely with our local authority partners around domestic abuse, around safeguarding, and we also work very closely with third-party sector charity organisations that have seen an increase, I understand quite significantly in some areas, around calls to around domestic abuse. But we haven't necessarily seen the rise that we would have expected, but we do have concerns around underreporting. But as I say, the message for me is we take it incredibly seriously, and it's a real concern for us, and we are here for you.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Thank you. Marcus, we know that the month of Ramadan is coming very soon. And we also know that particularly in London Borough of Tower Hamlets and in Hackney, a significant portion of people that you serve, they do belong to Muslim faith. What would be your message to them, and what would be your message to all the religious institution, religious organization, or a welfare organization, those who are working relentlessly for the community?
Well, thank you. It's a really, really topical question. Ramadan starts tomorrow, and I want to say Ramadan Mubarak, and I hope that's the right pronunciation, but have a very happy Ramadan. I do fully understand, and I can see that it's going to be a very different Ramadan month this year for the Muslim community, and I don't underestimate that. But I guess the overall message, we've had Passover, we've had Easter, and all of those faiths and the religious festivals have been taken into a very different setting this year. And the overall message is we must maintain the levels of restrictions. And again, I will say thank you so much for your support thus far. That needs to continue. But that doesn't mean you can't and you shouldn't and you absolutely must celebrate Ramadan. And, when it comes to iftar and you're having your meal, you can celebrate that through social media with your family and loved ones. But please stay at home. And when it comes to Eid at the end of Ramadan and the festival and these celebrations, again, if the restrictions are still in place, then I would urge you please to stay at home and protect the NHS and save lives. And that's really, really important. And if I may just say as well, I know that since the mosques have closed and we've been in close contact with the Muslim community, certainly in Tower Hamlets, I know that there's been such generous giving to food banks and providing food, cooking food to go to the NHS and to people within the community. And that is so much appreciated. And it's a generosity that I think we need to say thank you. And but please stay safe. This is about keeping people safe during this really difficult time.
Right. Thank you very much, Marcus. As you mentioned earlier, that it is very difficult for some people to maintain the social distancing because of the sort of job they do and because of various other socio-economic reason. What would be your message to them, particularly people those who are not following those rules and regulation, and they are doing it because they think they are actually they are somehow immune to this virus? They will not have that virus. They are not vulnerable. They do not belong to that vulnerable group. What would be your message to those people?
Well, my message to people that are listening that may think that they will have immunity or they won't get the virus and they don't need to maintain social distancing and adhere to the restrictions and the guidance that's been set out very clearly by Public Health England and government is this is a virus that will get anybody. I've had it for 2 weeks and I can tell you firsthand it was very, very unpleasant. And I'm still suffering 5 weeks on with breathlessness and a cough and exhaustion. And so please, unless you absolutely have to, going out and getting groceries or medication or you're caring for somebody or you have a job where you just cannot work from home and it's essential, we have very clear guidance. Please stay at home. You are not immune to this virus. And, it can get you and it is really, really unpleasant. So save people's lives, protect the NHS and think twice before you decide that you are going to not adhere to the social distancing rules. We need to stick together. The community spirit, I think, that we've seen is fantastic. It's like the wartime spirit that we've often talked about.
Thank you.
It has been so refreshing to see in such a difficult time.
Thank you very much. Marcus, you know that we, NTV, we are trying to support Met Police to raise the public awareness, particularly during this pandemic situation. What would be your message to us or other, other organizations, those who are working relentlessly to raise this public awareness so that people follow the rules and regulation, and we do what we need to do. As you mentioned, it is an unprecedented your message to us.
Well, what I would say to any organisation or anybody that's listening about the pandemic is to raise awareness would be to please read up and understand fully the guidance that's been set by the government and the reasons why we're saying it. Be very clear about the social distancing rules, understand the risks that are involved, and I think really sort of look very closely, within, and understand where it is that you can contribute, how you can save lives, how you can protect the NHS. Because after all, what we're trying to do is to keep people that are at risk, the elderly, those with underlying health conditions, in and safe, so that the NHS can, who are doing an incredible job, and we are all so proud of what they're doing. We can help them manage the demands that they've got, which is at the moment we know incredibly high, and we can all hopefully come out the other side of this in whatever that's going to be, in a healthy and far happier place than many of us are at the moment.
Yes,
so Sorry.
So, thank you very much, Marcus. And we, like you, we also hope better days will come. And as a media, as a TV channel, as a very popular TV channel all across the world, NTV Europe, we are also trying our level best to work with all relevant organizations like Met Police to raise this public awareness. So, we are working in partnership with Met Police as well.
Well, we're delighted. As I said to you, I'm absolutely thrilled. I've been invited to come and speak today to everybody that's listening in the United Kingdom and then beyond, and anybody that we can work with, be it the Metropolitan Police Service, government organisations, local authorities, strong partnerships across communities, in London particularly, where I work. It's absolutely essential that we can make use of, such as you, a wide audience through media. It's such a vital tool at this time to get messages across and to keep people's hopes up and to keep people, going at a time of real crisis. And as I said, I am a firm believer that we will come through this together as communities, but it is going to take a real team effort and maintaining that level of commitment and understanding across the piece. And my commitment to everybody that's listening in London, because the Metropolitan Police Service is here for you. We will continue to work with you in communities in a very proportionate, very balanced way to help you understand and to adhere to the social distancing. Because that, after all, is what we're really about when we talk about coronavirus.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marcus Barnett, Borough Commander for London Borough of Tower Hamlets and Hackney. Thank you so very much for your time today. And on behalf of NTV, we wish you all the best. And we are incredibly proud of the work that you and your colleagues are doing to ensure the social distancing and other important terms and conditions from the government to tackle this crisis time. And I also think that we will come up with a better day. The sunny days will come, and all of us, we would be able to enjoy together. So thank you once again for your time today.
Thank you very much indeed for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, today we were talking about coronavirus and how Metropolitan Police, how they are dealing with these issues, and how the normal functioning of the police force has been affected by coronavirus, by this pandemic situation. I had the Borough Commander from London Borough of Tower Hamlets and Hackney, Mr. Marcus Barnett, with us. We need to go for a quick break. Once we come back, we'll have two very highly regarded politicians with us. So do stay with us.